Hey, how's it going? This is It Made Click, the show in which I am answering your questions. Today I would like to talk a little bit about using the EXIF information in photos online, other photographers' photos. EXIF information being this embedded information about how the photo is taken, with which settings, what camera, what lens, and so on. I know this might be a sensitive topic for the one or the other of us photographers because they feel like looking at EXIF information is kind of spying. But seriously, I think when we photographers, when we upload photos with EXIF information, then this is a good thing. We share this information with other photographers. It might help them, which is really good. We should stick together. And if we don't want to share our information, which is also perfectly fine, if we want to protect our technique or whatever, then we can still strip out the EXIF information. It's just one checkbox when I export a photo from Photoshop or from Lightroom, and then the EXIF information is gone. Nobody will see it. But if we upload it, then, well, it's perfectly fine that other photographers use it. And the reason I come up with that today is a great question that I got a couple of days ago from cousin Brett Chapman on Twitter. And Brett is asking, I have a fashion runway show to shoot. Should I shoot with depth of field or shallow? Which is an awesome question. It's really great. And I was able to answer shallow, with a compressed background, use a telezoom lens around 150 millimeter and shoot around f4 from a low point of view. How can I answer this question? Am I a professional, really experienced in runway shows and so on? No, not at all. But hey, I can look it up in 10 seconds on Google. Google gives me all the information of the world. I mean, Google gives me instantaneously more information than the US president had 10 years ago. So no problem. And I don't mean the tutorials. I mean, they are really helpful and so on. That's fine. But I like to look at actual images. I like to look, how is it, really done? Not just somebody telling how it's done, but firsthand how it's done. And Google got EXIF information in their search index. I think they don't really use it for search. I cannot really search, or I haven't figured out how to search exactly for certain EXIF information. But, if I've got a question like the one from Brad, I can just go to Google and I can type in something like Fashion Week 2015 to get a lot of these typical fashion photos. Then I click on images and Google shows me a bunch of photos and I see they are all looking alike. That's always this typical shot, portrait orientation. The model is walking down the runway, 1 foot in the air, so she's mid-movement. There's just a stage in the background, no audience, so it's a tailor perspective. It's from a low point of view, just exactly at the end of the stage. It's all the same, it's all alike. And I can click through the photos, and a lot of them might not have EXIF information, but when I click through, I will find the one or the other that has got the EXIF information intact. And I choose a typical photo like I needed, and then I look at the right side of the screen in Google. And there it says, for example, it's done with a Canon EOS 1D Mark IV, which is a pretty professional camera. So the guy who has taken the photo might have been a professional, which is good. And then there is a more information flyout, which I can open. And the flyout tells me this photo is done at a 500th of a second, f4, ISO 1000 at 145 millimeters. So he got the telezoom. Well, all the information just there. And I will do that with a couple of other images and find some variation. For example, another typical image might be shot with a Canon EOS 1DX, which is also kind of professional. And when I look at the data, it's done at a 640th of a second, f5, ISO 2500 at 120 millimeters. So there I get to my range. How is it typically done? Now, when I go through some of the photos, and that's quite fast. And I can do that with all kinds of photos, not just fashion. I can just type in the keywords of the photos I want to shoot and look up examples. Or if I've got a certain example, one example photo, which in and of itself doesn't contain EXIF information, I can search for exactly that photo on Google and see if I can find it, or if I find really similar images. Now for that, I would go to the search box in Google. I would click the little camera icon, and there it says upload an image. I can just upload that image and see what Google has got in stock for me. Usually there's a wealth of information about that. So this is how you can do it. This is how you can quickly look up yourself any of the settings. Don't get me wrong, I don't mean that you can't ask me. Of course, you are highly welcome to ask all kinds of technical questions and lighting and so on, and ask it to me on Twitter with the hashtag #ItMadeClick, or on a Facebook page of mine. And if it's a question that is valuable for others, I will pick it up and answer it right in this show. And until then, I wish you good light.